afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. I'm Andrew Sims, and I'm chair of the Alberta Order of Excellence Council. And welcome to this somewhat delayed Order of Excellence Investiture Ceremony. Would you please rise for the entrance of Her Honour, the Honourable Salima Lakhami, Lieutenant Governor of Alberta and Chancellor of our Order of Excellence, and His Honour, Dr. Zahir Lakhani. I'd also ask you to please remain standing through both the vice-regal salute and the invocation to follow. It's customary to refrain from singing while the vice-regal salute is being played. I now invite the Honourable Catherine Fraser, Chief Justice of Alberta, to offer the invocation.
Your Honours, former Premier Stelmach, distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen. Today we gather to honour 7 remarkable Albertans, one of whom, Charles Fisher, we have lost far too early. All have written their own story and in doing so blazed a trail for others to follow. Doing so is never easy. It requires ingenuity and insight to know when and how to leave the well-trodden path, and courage to take that first step, often alone, and stride forward into the unknown. To blaze a trail in a manner that inspires others to follow and makes our world a better, safer, more inclusive place, that is an even greater feat. Each Albertan we honor today has done just that. We will soon hear how each has made an extraordinary difference in our world. They've dedicated their lives in service to their communities, from achieving advancements in medicine, human rights, the arts, and business, to leading our communities, mobilizing positive change, lifting up spirits, and bringing help and hope to those in need and great joy to our lives. Their accomplishments will never be diminished by the passage of time. May we be encouraged by these leaders to care more deeply for our own communities, commit to lifelong learning, enrich the arts, be global citizens and agents for change, and continue to work towards a stronger, more positive future for all. In recognition of the various beliefs and faith traditions represented here today, I invite you in silent reflection to express gratitude in your own personal way. Peace to you all.
Thank you, Chief Justice Fraser. Ladies and gentlemen, please be seated. Good afternoon, Your Honours, Chief Justice, distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you for joining us this afternoon. I would like to acknowledge our presence here in Government House, built on what has traditionally been Treaty 6 land and the home territory of other Indigenous and Métis people. We are living together in this community, and may we all make good use of this land. This day has been a long time coming, As you all know, we've been waiting since last fall to celebrate the newest members of the Alberta Order of Excellence. Waiting since October the 20th, 2020 to be exact. But those plans, like so many others, were put on hold due to the COVID-19 pandemic. Thankfully, we are finally able to gather again, thanks to the several safety precautions we are all following, as well, of course, thanks to the medical advances, vaccines that are protecting us. And so today we have the very great pleasure of welcoming these outstanding Albertans to the Alberta Order of Excellence. While each of them has excelled in different areas, they have much in common. Academy Award winner Denzel Washington once used these words that could easily apply to our honorees. At the end of the day, it's not about what you have or even what you've accomplished. It's about who you've lifted up, who you've made better. It's about what you've given back. As you'll hear, each of our honorees has done exactly that. They've lifted others up. They have made life better for others. They have helped communities see their way through crises. In the days since the advent of COVID, that's more important than ever. Some have supported communities through crises like wildfires and floods. Others, crises of a social or health nature, which grind on much longer. And our honorees have been there to reach out and lift up. Some have created programs that make a direct and hands-on difference to people's lives. Many have recognized problems and didn't stop until they had implemented solutions. In doing so, they inspire all of us. And so we are here today to thank them, to honor them. One of the things I've noticed over my 6 years is that our honorees have normally been modest people and don't trumpet their own achievements, but nonetheless achievements they have. The Alberta Order of Excellence is part of Canada's national honours system. It is the highest honour our province has to offer. 2020 marked the 41st anniversary of the Order, and since it was created in 1979, only 189 people have been named members of the Order. And that includes the remarkable Albertans we are celebrating today. Consider that our province is now home to 4.4 million people. You can appreciate just how rare, how much an honor this lifetime Order of Excellence constitutes. Each year, the AOE Council considers many worthy nominations. We choose from a surplus of riches. They're from across the province, representing a diverse range of contributions and endeavors. The people you are about to meet are the best of the best. Because of these people, our communities are stronger, our province is stronger, and people's lives have changed for the better. This ceremony is an opportunity to come together, to honor those outstanding human beings, to thank them, and to celebrate them for all they do. And this ceremony is a celebration. It's not unduly formal, we hope. I hope it has a positive tone and something that we can all enjoy. As we do, we're grateful to have with us Her Honour, the Honourable Selma Lakhani, Lieutenant Governor of Alberta, and His Honour, Dr. Zahir Lakhani. Her Honour was installed as Lieutenant Governor last summer, making her Chancellor of the Alberta Order of Excellence, and also a lifelong member of the Order. As such, she wears the Chancellor's chain and has an AEO medal, just like today's inductees will receive. This may be Her Honour's first ceremony as our Chancellor, but her long-standing service to this community and volunteering puts her in equal company with today's inductees. For more than 40 years, Her Honor has been guided by her deep commitment to the values of pluralism and inclusiveness, and her dedication to championing those who face barriers in life. It is a genuine pleasure for me to welcome you to the AOE family. And we're going to make that official right now. Each of today's inductees is receiving a personalized scroll to mark their membership, and I hope you've had the chance to see them downstairs. As it is our tradition, new members sign their scroll in front of this group as witnesses. It marks the moment when they formally become a member of the Alberta Order of Excellence. That doesn't mean I have a right of veto, but it is a formal. And so I'd like to ask Her Honor to come forward and sign her scroll in the official Book of Records, and then to offer some words of welcome, Your Honor.
Thank you so much, Andy, and hello, everyone. Good afternoon. I know that our chair, Andy Sims, has done a beautiful land acknowledgement. I want to add that treaty relationships are an essential part of the Crown in Canada, and I am proud to honor them in my role as the Queen's representative. I'm so delighted to finally be sharing this exciting day with our remarkable members of the Alberta Order of Excellence for 2020. And I'm truly humbled to serve as Chancellor of the Order. As you know, the path to this ceremony, as Andy has alluded to, has included delays and rescheduling due to the pandemic. It has certainly been a longer road than any of us could have predicted, and we have all been eagerly waiting since last fall to celebrate this special event. I have to share with you that since my installation, this is the first in-program event of this magnitude I have had the pleasure of hosting at this, our magnificent government house. It is such an honor to finally be able to welcome each and every one of you, and I hope you will have an opportunity to enjoy some of the beautiful artwork that graces this building. In a sense, the unfortunate but necessary postponements have served as a reminder of gifts that our honorees have in abundance. These include great perseverance, selflessness, strength of character, and a steadfast focus on charting a course forward that benefits every member of our community. Throughout their lives and careers, our guests of honor have thought and acted with positive energy, determination, and an unshakable belief in the power of teamwork, and through their shining examples, effective and lasting solutions have taken shape. When faced with challenges that might seem daunting, their focus has always been on what they can do, how they can help, and where they can make a difference. And our world is a much brighter place thanks to their long-standing and thoughtful contributions. As Her Majesty the Queen's representative and Chancellor of the Alberta Order of Excellence, it is my tremendous honor to recognize and congratulate Judy Lynn Archer, Chief Jim Boucher, the late Charlie Fisher, represented here this evening by his wife Joanne Cuthbertson, Dr. Francis Harley, Lieutenant Colonel retired John Ma, Holger Peterson, who I understand could not be with us, and Ed Stelmach. And I have to tell you that it's exactly 15 years ago today that you were installed as Premier, December 13th, 2006, right? Thank you to all of you for always sharing the best of who you are. You are all extraordinary citizens, and you have more than earned this special recognition. To quote the fearless and tireless Mother Teresa, and I quote, "I alone cannot change the world, but I can cast a stone across the water to create many ripples. Each of you, in your own way and by example, has created ripples that will inspire countless Canadians for decades to come. Congratulations again to all our 2020 AOE recipients and all family members. Enjoy this long-awaited and well-deserved celebration. Thank you.
Thank you, Your Honor, or Chancellor. I'm not sure which hat I have to refer to now that you're formally installed as a member of the Order. You likely noticed, as will all the new AOE members today, that the ceremony program and the scroll you just are about to sign bear the date of your original investiture, October 20th, 2020. We've all had to make adjustments. I thank you again for your patience. But we also want to recognize that you are what we call the class of 2020. Gail gets irritated when I say it's the 2020 litter, but it took over a year from your original date to gather safely, but that too is part of our history. My federal council members have had the great pleasure of presenting the 2020 AOE members to you this afternoon. The Order of Excellence Council consists of Stan Blade of Edmonton, Sharon Carey of Cochrane, Brian Hodgson of Lac-Saint-Anne, and Patricia Moore of Calgary. Unfortunately, our fifth council member, Diana Blonsey of Calgary, is unable to join us today. My sincere thanks to each of you and to Diane for your work through the year on the council. I get to observe firsthand just how much council members work. They are volunteers, but each and every council member I have served with in 6 years has dedicated not only work, but wisdom and judgment to their tasks, and I thank you. I'll now invite Patricia Moore to make our first introduction. Patricia?
Wait for it. Sorry. Apologies. Thank you, Mr. Chair. On behalf of the
Council, I'm honored to present Judy Lynn Archer for membership in the Alberta Order of Excellence. I'm going to put your hand there to hold you. Judy Lynn Archer of Edmonton has helped thousands of women realize their potential, escape poverty, and make a better life for their families. By training, housing, and encouraging marginalized women to learn a trade, Judy Lynn and the Women Building Futures program have also helped the construction industry to find local, qualified, and motivated tradespeople. Judy Lynn and this exceptional program have changed lives. So who better to explain the significance of that change than a graduate of the Women's Building Future? I'd like to draw from a letter from one of the graduates. I'll call her Susan, and it really says it all. Judy Lynn knew instinctively from the start that Women Building Futures could help women exactly like Susan, trapped in a cycle of poverty but full of potential. So Judy Lynn built the program one brick at a time and one day at a time, giving her heart and soul because she believed so strongly in the program. She may have been operating on a shoestring budget, but her results were pure gold. That's because Judy Lynn offered what Susan calls hope in a hopeless situation. Once accepted into the program, Susan tells us the expectations that Judy Lynn set and lived by were exceptional. Excuse me. She built a team of teachers and mentors who are empathic to each woman's individual situation, yet expects each woman to do her best, to be the best possible tradesperson she could be. In exchange, Judy Lynn worked directly with industry to make sure each woman had a practicum position waiting for her when she graduated from the program. Practicums with companies that offered jobs and apprenticeships at wages that graduates couldn't have imagined 6 weeks earlier. As their careers in trades move forward, their self-confidence grows naturally. They grow as persons, they grow as mothers. Susan says Judy gave her the tools to create a better life for herself and her family. That's why Susan wrote her letter, to shine a light on Judy Lynn, who saw that she had the potential to change lives and followed through to make it happen, who opened thousands of doors for women just like Susan. Women who entered the program barely surviving, and now they have countless life skills that all started on the day they walked through the doors at Women Building Futures. Now imagine that letter 2,500 times over, because that's how many graduates have completed the Women Building Futures program. That's how many lives have changed for the better. And that's not counting families lifted up in the process. And Judy Lynn's legacy will carry on through the fund she has set up to further help these women. Because the Judy Lynn Archer Endowment Fund with the Edmonton Community Foundation helps cover costs for students in Women Building Futures. In recognition of her remarkable contribution, it is my honor on behalf of the Council to name Judy Lynn Archer as a member of the Alberta Order of Excellence. So,
Congratulations, Judy Lynn, and thank you, Pat, for that introduction. Our next presentations will be made by Council Member Sharon Carey. Sharon.
Good afternoon. On behalf of the Council, I'm honoured to present Jim Boucher for membership in the Alberta Order of Excellence. Jim, I want to begin by saying Tonse et Lanete. Chief Jim Boucher of Fort McKay is a visionary leader and businessman whose consensus-based leadership led the Fort McKay First Nation to become one of the most successful and enterprising Indigenous communities in the world. This is a man who, given every opportunity to say I, consistently says we, as he talks about his community's transition from living off the land to embracing new economic opportunities. That's because he governs by consensus and excels at finding common ground with people. In Jim's community, every member has a voice. In that spirit, I'd like to give voice to some things said about Chief Boucher that he would never tell you about himself. He has worked tirelessly for decades to support the growth and prosperity of the Fort McKay First Nation community. Anyone who has worked as hard as he has, for as long as he has, is clearly motivated by a deep commitment and caring for his community and his people. Even as he inked multi-million-dollar deals with the oil sands industry, his primary concern was his community. Rather than seeing benefits tied to businesses with revenues that fluctuate with economic factors like the price of oil, he looked for long-term revenue to help fund education, elder care, job training, and infrastructure. Thanks to his leadership, the Fort McKay First Nations has grown into a successful, healthy community with next to zero unemployment, a per capita average household income that is higher than the Alberta average, a comfortable trust fund, and control of companies that generate revenue directly for his community. The First Nation has developed social assets like the Community Medical Centre, the Community Youth Centre, and the Fort McKay Long-Term Care Facility, all funded and built by the band to ensure elders can remain in the community to continue traditional teachings for youth. Jim's inclusive leadership was clearly on display during the peak of the Wood Buffalo wildfire in 2016. As 5,000 residents of Fort McMurray evacuated to the north of the city, Jim and his community opened their doors to the evacuees, providing food and shelter until they too were forced to evacuate. And while Jim was the voice the whole time of calm and reason, of course, his inclusive leadership continues beyond times of crisis, always looking for ways to help others succeed, including while serving as a board member at Keano College. He created the Chief Jim Boucher Distinguished Alumnus Award and the Chief Jim Boucher Ministerial Award of Excellence to support students on their educational journeys. The bottom line is that the Fort McKay First Nation has been internationally recognized as one of the most successful Indigenous communities in the world. And Jim is rightfully recognized as the driving force behind that success. He continues to be an influential person, now as an elder, and one sought after to share his experience, wisdom, and understanding on the world stage. Toward that end, Jim has launched several new ventures. As president and founder of the Sa-Dene group of companies, he is working with a variety of partners to pursue opportunities in education, health, technology, and innovation, and service sectors. For his many outstanding contributions, it is my honor, on behalf of the Council, to name Jim Boucher as a member of the Alberta Order of Excellence. Congratulations, Jim. Like all of our inductees this afternoon, Charlie Fisher learned in the spring of 2020 that he was to receive the Alberta Order of Excellence. Sadly, Charlie passed away that June before this ceremony could take place. So we've asked Charlie's wife, Joanne Cuthbertson, to accept the Alberta Order of Excellence on Charlie's behalf. Charlie Fisher of Calgary was a leader in Canada's energy industry. He used his credibility and influence in the oil and gas industry to build awareness and support for initiatives that continue to make a difference. Charlie started as an engineer and developed a solid background in operations as he moved swiftly up the ranks of Alberta's energy industry until he was president and CEO of Nexen. Under his leadership, Nexen did more than thrive as a business. It became a model of corporate social responsibility, demonstrating how a large corporation should operate locally and in the developing world. As Charlie helped Nexen evolve, he became more dedicated to the world beyond his profession. Known for his ethics, sought for his counsel, and celebrated for his innate ability to build relationships, Charlie was asked to donate his time and talent to support causes that create better and stronger communities. In his retirement, and I use that word loosely, he served as a board member and often as chair of many local, provincial, and national organizations. The focus of these organizations ranges from energy to environment, from government and public policy to business and sports, from post-secondary education and research to healthcare, to name just a few. But one cause, children's physical and mental health and pediatric research, occupied a special place in Charlie's heart for more than 30 years. To understand what made Charlie a community leader, friends and family love to tell the tale of the telescope. One year for Christmas, Joanne gave Charlie a telescope, which he kept in his downtown office so he could watch construction progress on his favorite project, the Alberta Children's Hospital. When visitors asked what the telescope was for, Charlie seized on the opportunity to tell them all about the proposed hospital and to ask if they wanted to contribute to the cause. But he didn't stop there. Once the hospital was built, he turned his time and attention to promoting the hospital's new research institute for children's mental health. His support will carry on through the Cuthbertson Fisher Chair in Pediatric Mental Health at the University of Calgary. He also devoted his energy and passion to improving Alberta's healthcare system through his work as co-founder and vice chair of Imagine, Citizens Collaborating for Health. Charlie will always be known as a visionary whose clarity of purpose, determination, and commitment helped him achieve personal and professional success, which is translated into long-lasting contributions to Alberta that will benefit its citizens for generations to come. We are proud to include Charlie Fisher in the AOE family, and we're grateful that Joanne, Kate, and Lindsay have been able to join us today as we honor him. Charlie and Joanne work side by side, partners in love, learning, and building better communities. And so it's most fitting that Joanne stands here for Charlie today. For his outstanding contribution, it is my honor on behalf of the Council to name Charles Wayne Fisher as a member of the Alberta Order of Excellence.
Thank you, Sharon, for those introductions. Thank you, Joanne, for representing Charlie today. And as I said just privately to Joanne, I think the whole council recognized that you and Charlie worked together as a real team. And this was an honor for Charlie, but it is one that reflects on you too. I'll also mention, didn't want to interrupt Sharon, but Jim Boucher is one of those people who became a member of the Order of Excellence today, and it's only going to take him 2.5 weeks, and he's going to be joining the council. So pretty fast promotion there, Chief. I'll now invite Brian Hodgson to the podium to make the next 2 presentations. Brian?
Your Honor, on behalf of the Council, it is my honor to present Francis Harley for membership in the Alberta Order of Excellence. Dr. Francis Harley Urtiston of Edmonton pioneered in the field of pediatric nephrology in Canada, caring for infants and children suffering from kidney diseases. She has dedicated her remarkable career to helping underfunded and undeserved groups inspiring others to follow her lead. Many children and adults owe their lives to her compassion for the most vulnerable, as well as her innovation, her exceptional skill, and her determination to help kids grow up to be productive adults and make illness just a small part of their lives. To Frances, it has been just a matter of doing what is needed. She says her favorite description of herself has always been the word relentless. If you see a goal and you know what needs to be accomplished, you have to be relentless. Case in point, pediatric nephrology didn't even exist when she first arrived at the University of Alberta. So she spent her time working with adults while she built a program for infants and children from the ground up. Relentless. She championed live liver transplants for children at a time when the procedure was only performed at a few centers in North America. Relentless. Pediatric nephrology is not a high-profile subspecialty, and I dare say that most of us would not have known anything about it until this evening. But the care that is needed to provide for an infant on dialysis is like no other. That's why Frances ensured that the next generation of care providers would be ready to ensure the subspecialty remains strong. The only pediatric nephrologist in Alberta for years, she provided service in both Edmonton and Calgary, attending clinics and taking calls for the entire province. Following up with teaching parents and complexities of home hemodialysis. As her team grew, her service expanded to include all of the Northwest Territories, parts of the Yukon, Nunavut, British Columbia, and Saskatchewan. Relentless. Frances also volunteered at Mascachis for 13 years, providing a renal component to the diabetes clinic on the reserve. In response to what she witnessed there, Frances was moved to set up a scholarship for Indigenous women in leadership and management programs at the Banff Centre. She and her husband Raoul also created the Raoul Urdeston Frances Harley Scholarship for young emerging artists from Argentina. And just for the record, her medical expertise extends beyond nephrology. Frances also advanced medical care for children with cystic fibrosis and asthma. In her role as the first director of the Cystic Fibrosis Clinic at the University of Alberta. Relentless. Of course, you can easily see that another word equally describes Frances, and that word is compassion. Compassion has been another consistent theme in her life. Whether she is caring for children with chronic illnesses, working with both the national and city food banks when she saw food insecurity, a real problem for many of her patients, providing health care to Indigenous peoples, or funding scholarships and programs for Indigenous students. The bottom line is this: for decades, her relentless, compassionate advocacy has changed lives. And to parents of sick kids throughout Western Canada, that truly matters. In recognition of her outstanding contribution, it is my honor, on behalf of the Council, to name Frances Harley as a member of the Alberta Order of Excellence. Your Honor, on behalf of the Council, it is my honor to present John Ma for membership in the Alberta Order of Excellence. Lieutenant Colonel retired John Ma of Edmonton has dedicated over 40 years of leadership, care, and hard work to help people solve problems around the corner and around the world. John's approach to helping others has always been guided by the philosophy emblazoned on his family crest, which reads, "Strength through knowledge." For most people, one career is enough of a challenge. John has embraced and succeeded in 4 distinct but complementary paths as he kept his family's mottos front of mind. As a respected international lawyer, dedicated member of the Canadian Armed Forces, a tireless volunteer with St. John's International, and an effective advocate for the Chinese-Canadian community. John has strengthened communities and organizations from the local grassroots level to the highest orders around the world. On each of these paths of service to community, John's journey has seen parallels of success, then promotion, greater success, then greater promotion. As such, it will come as no surprise that he has always embraced hard work. While he was at university, he also served in the Loyal Edmonton Regiment of the Canadian Army. He became a respected international business lawyer. He also built a distinguished career in the Canadian Army Reserves as a member of the Office of the Judge Advocate General. I know from my own experience in uniform that John represents the very best of what it is to be a fine military officer. Meanwhile, his military service to his country parallels his service with St. John's Ambulance. As John would point out, many Canadians are members of both organizations. With common backgrounds and common ways of solving problems, they can get more done together. And John says it's all about making Canada a better place. Just as his family motto guided him through his military service, it still guides him today as he works with St. John International to help make communities around the world more resilient. These days, as a great officer and sub-prior, he has oversight responsibility for St. John's operations in more than 30 countries. And throughout the COVID-19 pandemic, he has been busier than ever. He is leading St. John's International outreach in underdeveloped countries, which is teaching crucially important preventative measures like hand washing, mask use, and social distancing. Throughout his life, John has been a keen leader within the Chinese-Canadian community, as he has provided pro bono guidance on family reunification, legal issues, and government access, served on multiple community boards, led fundraising initiatives for nonprofit organizations, and served as a founding member and ultimately the national chair and governor of the Hong Kong Canada Business Association. Ultimately, no matter which path he has followed over the decades, no matter who he was helping, armed with this incredible work ethic, John has always been assured success. And I've known him for over 50 years. Great guy. In recognition of his exemplary citizenship, it is my honor, on behalf of the Council, to name John Chu Minhua as a member of the Alberta Order of Excellence.
Congratulations, John, and thank you, Brian. Our next two presentations will be made by Stan Blade. Stan?
Good afternoon, all. Congratulations, John, and thank you, Brian. So thank you, Mr. Chair. Given the number of times that the pandemic has forced this ceremony to be postponed, it was inevitable that not all of our honorees would be able to join us today. I regret to say that Holger Peterson's schedule has kept him from our company this afternoon. But if you will allow me, Your Honor, I would like to share with you why he is most deserving of the membership in the Order of Excellence. Many thanks, Your Honor. Holger Peterson of Edmonton is a legend in the music world. He is a longtime broadcaster on CKUA and CBC Radio. He is co-founder of Stony Plain Records and the Edmonton Folk Music Festival. He is a music producer, musician, and author. In other words, Holger is a storyteller. We humans are a storytelling species. Stories permeate our lives. And when crises hit, like the COVID-19 pandemic, we turn to our storytellers to carry us through. Many say the universal storytelling language is music. It connects cultures, it connects people. It is perhaps the most evocative way to share stories about the human condition. It is through music that Holger connects us, and not just during the pandemic. He has been a trusted storyteller for over 50 years now. Through his broadcasts and books, he enriches and educates. He builds community. He provides much-needed connection, bringing people together over the airwaves. On CKUA Radio, he is the host of Natural Blues, Canada's longest-running blues program, which has been on the air for a remarkable 53 years and is still going strong. For the last 34 years, he has hosted CBC's Saturday Night Blues, the first national radio network blues show in Canada. Holger's radio programs feature in-depth conversations with some of the biggest names in the world of music. His calm nature, backed up by thorough research, puts those he interviews at ease, making for engaging and enlightening conversations. Some of those stories have gone on to fill 2 critically acclaimed books. Many persist in hoping for a third. Holger has also dedicated himself to giving musicians the opportunity to share their stories via the recording studio. He started out preserving the work of previously unrecorded old-school blues artists. Once he co-founded Stony Plain Records, there was no looking back. He built a solid stable of Canadian blues and roots musicians, while giving international artists seeking a niche label a professional place to work. Stony Plain Records has issued over 400 albums and counting, achieving global success and acclaim, all thanks to Holger's abiding respect for musicians and his trademark fairness in business dealings. Holger's ease working with musicians was also evident in his work with the Edmonton Folk Music Festival. He was one of the founders of the festival in 1979 and served as its artistic director from 1985 to 1988, laying the groundwork for an event that is now the envy of musicians the world over. But if there is one place that all of Holger's storytelling intersects, it's on CKUA Radio, Alberta's extraordinary public broadcaster, which turned 94 years old last month. From this solid foundation, Holger provides much-needed connection. And in these days of the pandemic, social and political unrest, and extreme weather, now more than ever, we need our storytellers. For his outstanding contributions it is my honor, on behalf of the Council, to name Holger Peterson as a member of the Alberta Order of Excellence. Take a round of applause. And it is our intent to do just that in person with Holger in the very near future. And now it gives me great pleasure, on behalf of the Council, I am honored to present Edward Stelmach for membership in the Alberta Order of Excellence. Ed Stelmach of Andrew has lived a life of service to Albertans. He has done so humbly, honestly, with integrity and dignity. While some Albertans may only know Ed through his, it's very difficult for me to say Ed when I think about Premier Stelmach. Through his time as Premier of the province, his record of public service spans well before and long after his time in the legislature. He has served in many roles over the years, from school trustee, hospital and health board member, county councillor and reeve, to member of the Legislative Assembly of Alberta, cabinet minister, and premier of Alberta, to board member of countless community organizations, to founder of the Ed Stelmach Community Foundation. Throughout it all, there's another role that Ed has consistently and proudly exemplified over the years. He has always been a farmer. I had the privilege to first get to know Ed when he was appointed Minister of Agriculture, Food and Rural Development in 1997. Having split my time between the field and the office, I recognized and appreciated the knowledge base that he brought to the job. The fact is, thanks to his long service at the municipal level, Ed brought the same deep level of understanding to all of his cabinet posts and the Premier's chair, all the while contributing to his fellow caucus members' understanding of the issues. No matter what role he played, he never forgot his community or his identity, always respecting those who elected him, always acting with integrity, compassion, and respect. I wish I had the time to share the many ways that Ed has made life better for Albertans. Just a few include the 10-year plan to end homelessness, Alberta's first ever climate change strategy, an interprovincial free trade agreement with both BC and Saskatchewan. He tackled the province's growing deferred maintenance budget by investing billions of dollars into public infrastructure. He made government more transparent and accountable to the public. Ed always made decisions in the best interest of the province. He adhered to the maxim of former Premier Peter Lougheed, who said, "First we make the right decision for the right reason, then we figure out the politics." Since Ed's retirement from politics in 2011, he has remained committed to the community. He is currently the board chair of Covenant Health, the largest Catholic health care provider in Canada. Upon retiring, Ed and Marie also established the Ed Stelmach Community Foundation. Ed and Marie see the foundation as a way to honor the way their parents' generation cared for one another when times were tough. Ed and Marie also honored Ed's grandparents, Ukrainian farmers who immigrated to Alberta in 1898 by donating the house they built to the Ukrainian Cultural Heritage Village. The village depicts how Ukrainian immigration made a significant impact on Alberta's cultural identity. And Stelmach House tells the story of the hardships faced by pioneers through the lens of one family. Why is it important to preserve such history? Ed will tell you that if we don't know where we come from, we don't know where we're going from here. More to the point, our current privileges and freedoms won't endure if we don't understand past threats to them. And so even in Ed's retirement, Albertans continue to reap the rewards of his service and will continue to do so for generations to come. In recognition of his many outstanding contributions to our province, it is my honor, on behalf of the Council, to name Edward Michael Stelmach as a member of the Alberta Order of Excellence. Congratulations. Thank you, sir.
Congratulations, Ed. And thank you, Stan, for those introductions. As Stan said, we'll be next week honoring Helga Peterson with a ceremony, a briefer ceremony. But my warmest congratulations to each of you as outstanding citizens who are joining the ranks of the Alberta Order of Excellence this afternoon. Every year, I read through the list of members, both still with us and who have passed on the Alberta Order of Excellence, and I am stunned by the depth, the understanding, the wisdom, and the diversity of the membership in this order. And as has been said earlier, every member invested remains a member for life. This is not a one-time honor. And to have the 7 people honored in this ceremony join those ranks is very fitting. And I'd like to thank my colleagues on the council for your service today and throughout the year, or should I say 2 years. Before we conclude, and maybe in the same vein, I'd like to take a moment to acknowledge the passing of the following AOE members since our last investiture ceremony in 2019. Henry Bergen, Gerald Hankins, Ian MacDonald, Don Mazankowski, Father Mike McCaffrey, Stanley Milner, John Morrell, Ernest Pallister, David Schindler, J.R. Jim Shaw, Shirley Stinson, and Max Ward. I think that sample of names, those who've passed on, indicate what a magnificent province we have and what magnificent representatives there are as part of the Order of Excellence. I'd ask that you observe a moment of silence to remember and honor all those AOE members who are no longer with us, who spent their lives making Alberta a better place. All Albertans owe them a debt of gratitude. Thank you, ladies and gentlemen. That concludes our program for this afternoon, or at least the ceremonial portion of the program. And I'd ask you to stand in silence as we listen to Carrie Lynn Zwicker sing O Canada.